Too many men are trapped in the illusion of instant gratification. They chase luxury, they chase status, they chase what's shiny and temporary, but what they don't realize is that luxury fades, while legacy lasts forever. It's time to shift your focus from fleeting comfort to lasting impact. This is a wake-up call, a reminder that you weren't born to just show the world your success. You were born to build something that will leave a mark long after you're gone. This is about choosing legacy over luxury, because the real power comes from what you create, not what you consume. Let's dive in. In this world, respect is not given freely, it is earned, and often it is bought. The brutal truth is that a man without wealth walks through life unseen. You could be wise, kind, talented, or full of ambition, but if you can't provide, protect, or produce results, society doesn't care. The world respects outcomes, not intentions. It listens to the man who commands power, not the one begging for attention. And in this system we live in, this cold, performance-based structure, money is the loudest language. Think about it. When a man speaks from a position of wealth, people listen. When a man walks into a room with confidence, style, and presence, funded by his financial independence, he gets heard, he gets noticed, and most importantly, he gets respected. Not because he's better than anyone else, but because he represents success. He symbolizes discipline, control, and the ability to rise above the average. Meanwhile, the man who struggles financially is expected to be silent, to sit in the shadows, to wait his turn while pretending he's okay with being overlooked. The harsh truth is, people pretend to care about character, but they worship results. You can be the nicest man in the room, but if you're broke, you will be pitied, not praised. You'll be treated like a project, not a leader. Even your opinions lose weight. The same words coming out of a man with a Rolex on his wrist and 6 figures in his account will carry more influence than yours, simply because he proved his value in a world where value is tied to output. This isn't about greed. It's not about becoming obsessed with materialism. It's about understanding how the world works and using it to your advantage. Financial power brings with it a kind of respect that no amount of charm, kindness, or good intentions can buy. Money amplifies your voice. It buys you time, options, and leverage. It allows you to stand tall, not because you're arrogant, but because you've earned the right to not bow. Men who lack wealth are often forced to tolerate disrespect, to bite their tongues, to settle for less, not because they want to, but because they have to. They're dependent. They have no leverage, and the world is merciless to those who are powerless. That's the reality they don't teach you in school, and it's the reality most ignore until it's too late. Respect doesn't come from existing. It comes from winning, from becoming undeniable, from building yourself into someone that cannot be ignored. And in this era, that journey starts with money. Want me to format this for voiceover delivery or pair it with some background visuals or music suggestions? There's a hard pill every man needs to swallow. No one is coming to save you. Not your parents, not your friends, not the government, not some mentor, not some miracle. Life is not a movie. There's no heroic rescue scene waiting around the corner. If you're broke, lost, or stuck, the only way out is through your own hands, and the longer you sit around waiting for help, the deeper the hole gets. The clock doesn't stop ticking. The bills don't pause. The world doesn't wait for you to figure it out. It keeps moving, and if you don't move with it, you get left behind. Every man has a breaking point, a moment where he realizes that the safety net he believed in is either full of holes or never existed in the first place. It's a cold realization, but it's also a powerful one, because once you stop waiting to be saved, you start taking responsibility. You stop blaming your past, your upbringing, your boss, or society. You look in the mirror and say, if this life is going to change, I have to be the one to change it. That's when everything starts. You see, modern life has sold men a lie that someone will notice your struggle and come lift you up. That if you're patient and humble and good, something magical will happen. But the truth is, everyone is busy with their own lives. They're not ignoring you out of cruelty. They just have their own storms to weather. No one is losing sleep over your potential. No one is staying up late hoping you win. That responsibility falls on your shoulders, and your shoulders alone. You weren't born to be average, but to escape average, you must become savage. You must grind when you're tired, study when you'd rather sleep, invest when it's easier to spend, take risks when comfort tells you to stay put. Every man who made it to the top started by making one decision, to stop waiting and start working. They didn't have all the answers. They didn't always feel confident, but they acted anyway, because they knew that no one else was going to build their empire for them. There's something powerful in knowing that it's all on you. It forces you to level up. It pushes you to develop discipline, resilience, and a mind that doesn't fold under pressure. It forces you to ask better questions, not who's going to help me, but what's my next move? Not why me, but what am I going to do about it? That's the mindset that separates the weak from the strong, the lost from the leaders, the average from the elite. Everyone talks about freedom, everyone wants it. The ability to wake up when you want, go where you want, speak your truth, live by your own rules. But what most men don't realize is that freedom isn't free, it comes with a price tag. And that price is paid in effort, sacrifice, and relentless self-discipline. Real freedom isn't just about escaping a 9-to-5 job. It's about having full control over your life, your time, your decisions, your future, and in the world we live in. Control doesn't come from wishes, it comes from wealth. Financial independence is the foundation of true freedom. Without money, your choices are limited. Without money, you answer to someone else's rules. You have to ask permission to take a day off. You have to live in fear of getting fired. You're stuck in survival mode, living paycheck to paycheck, constantly worrying about the next bill. That's not freedom, that's a leash. And most men don't even realize how tightly it's wrapped around their neck until they try to do something different, until they try to say no, and realize they can't. Freedom means walking away from situations that don't serve you. But you can't walk away if you don't have something to walk to. That's why money matters. Not for status, not for showing off, but for security, for leverage, for the power to choose. It's about knowing that you don't need to tolerate disrespect, toxic environments, or small thinking because you have the means to create your own path. And make no mistake, that level of independence isn't given. It's earned through years of grinding when others are relaxing, investing while others are spending, and building when others are scrolling. Every man who's built his freedom had to pay for it up front, with late nights, with lonely mornings, with discipline when it would have been easier to be lazy. While others were chasing distractions, he was chasing legacy. While others were focused on weekends, he was focused on decades. That's the price, and most men aren't willing to pay it. So they stay trapped, convincing themselves that they're comfortable, when deep down they know they're caged. Money doesn't solve all problems, but it solves the kind that keep you up at night. It buys you time to think, space, breathe, and freedom to choose the life you want, not the life someone else handed you. And if you think that freedom will fall into your lap just because you work hard at a job for 40 years, you're already lost. The system isn't built for you to win. It's built for you to obey. True freedom requires strategy, sacrifice, and an iron will to escape that system altogether. Comfort is one of the most dangerous traps a man can fall into. It doesn't show up as a threat. It disguises itself as peace, safety, and stability. But in reality, comfort is a slow, silent killer. It's the reason so many men stay stuck in average lives, doing average things with average results. It convinces you that where you are is good enough, that you don't need to push any further, that the risk isn't worth it. And that's how dreams die, not with failure, but with comfort. The problem with comfort is that it feels good, it's easy, it's familiar. You come home, sit on the couch, turn on the TV, and convince yourself you'll get serious tomorrow. You put off the hard work, the late nights, the early mornings, because it's easier to do what you've always done. The gym can wait. The side hustle can wait. The discipline can wait. But the truth is, nothing great ever came from comfort. Growth happens in pain. Power is built in pressure. Every level you want in life requires you to step out of what feels safe and into what feels uncomfortable. Comfort kills urgency. It destroys hunger, numbs your ambition. The more you settle into routine, the less you question it. You stop asking for more because you forget that more even exists. And while you're sitting in your comfortable little box, there's another man out there grinding, learning, improving, because he understands that he's not uncomfortable, he's not evolving. That's the brutal truth. Discomfort is the price of greatness. If your days feel easy, your life is probably headed toward mediocrity. Men weren't built for softness. You weren't meant to coast through life, avoiding stress, avoiding challenge. You were designed for resistance, for pressure, for struggle that sharpens you. Every time you avoid that, every time you choose what's easy over what's necessary, you're robbing yourself of your own potential. The job you hate but tolerate, that's comfort. The unhealthy lifestyle you've accepted, that's Comfort, the excuses you repeat every day, all rooted in comfort. The most dangerous part, comfort doesn't hit you all at once. It creeps in, slowly, silently. It tells you to relax a bit, to take it easy, to reward yourself. And before you know it, years have passed and you've become a man who used to have fire, used to have fight, used to have purpose, but now just exists in maintenance mode. No risks, no pain, no progress. If you're not challenging yourself, you're decaying. If you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. Comfort convinces you to settle before the race is even over. It whispers that you've done enough, that you're doing okay, that things aren't so bad. But okay is the enemy of exceptional, and the life you want will never live inside your comfort zone. In this world, you're either building your own life or being used to build someone else's. That's the brutal, black and white reality most people refuse to accept. Every hour you spend working, you're either building your vision or fueling someone else's. If you don't have a plan, a purpose, a project, or a business of your own, you are part of someone else's system, and that system doesn't care about your growth. It cares about your output, your loyalty, your silence, your ability to show up, do what you're told, and go home without asking questions. You were not born to live on autopilot, clocking in and out for 40 years just to retire on a pension that barely covers rent. You were not designed to just get by. That's the path designed for you by those who profit from your obedience. The school system trains you to follow orders. The job market teaches you to trade your time for barely enough to survive. The economy is rigged to keep you just busy enough, just stressed enough, just comfortable enough to never ask for more. That's not life, that's ownership. You're not living free, you're being leased out. The men who rise, the men who lead, the men who own. They understood one thing early on. They had to build skills, build value, build income streams, build discipline. They didn't wait to be given a title. They created one. They didn't beg for opportunities. They built platforms, and because of that, they don't answer to a manager. They don't flinch when prices rise. They don't panic when the economy shifts. Why? Because they have control. Because they built it. Building doesn't mean everyone has to become a CEO or entrepreneur. It means taking full ownership of your life. It means stacking assets, whether that's starting a business, investing your money, mastering high-income skills, or creating something that pays you long after you've stopped working. Ownership is not about ego, it's about freedom. It's about knowing that you are the architect, not the laborer, that your name is on the structure, not just on the timesheet. If you're not building, you're dependent. You need someone else to approve your time off. You need someone else to promote you. You need someone else to sign your paycheck. And the second they decide you're replaceable, which you are, you're done. Power doesn't belong to the hardest worker anymore. It belongs to the man who owns the system that workers operate in. That's the truth that makes people uncomfortable, but it's also the truth that sets people free. You don't have to stay in the machine. You can build your own, but it starts with a decision to stop renting your life out by the hour and start investing in something that's yours. Because if you're not building something for you, make no mistake, you're being owned by someone who already did. Luxury fades, legacy lasts. Most men chase the wrong thing their entire lives. Cars, watches, designer labels, nights out to impress people who don't even matter. They burn time and money trying to look rich instead of actually becoming powerful. They confuse appearance with achievement, status with substance. But at the end of the day, none of those surface-level luxuries mean anything if you leave this world with no impact, no story, no legacy. A real man builds beyond himself. He doesn't just think about what he can buy today. He thinks about what he can leave behind, what he can create that outlives him. A business, a family foundation, a mindset, a standard, a name people remember with respect. Because wealth isn't about what you flash on social media. It's about what you build quietly that speaks loudly when you're no longer here. Luxury might turn heads in the moment, but legacy turns hearts for generations. Legacy is about doing the hard work now so that those who come after you don't have to start from zero. It's about creating stability, guidance, and strength that echoes long after you're gone. Most men are so addicted to immediate gratification that they waste years chasing empty highs. They don't realize they're spending their prime building someone else's dream, buying things that depreciate, living a highlight reel while their future crumbles in silence. There's nothing wrong with enjoying nice things, but when you prioritize looking wealthy over being significant, you've already lost. That car, it'll be outdated in 5 years. That chain, it won't buy your freedom. That expensive trip, forgotten in a month. But a legacy, that's permanent, that's influence. That's something your children's children will benefit from. That's your principles, your grind, your empire, passed down not just in money, but in mindset. Men who think long-term move differently, they invest differently, they talk differently, they don't flex, they build. Every dollar they earn isn't just for pleasure, it's for purpose. Every hour of effort isn't about getting attention, it's about building something that can't be taken away. Something that can withstand time, recession, critics, and chaos. Something that becomes a blueprint for others. You're either remembered for what you owned or forgotten because you were too busy trying to impress people who didn't care. Legacy doesn't scream, it speaks. It shows up in the discipline you lived by, the standards you held, the empire you left. And that's what separates the boys from the men, the temporary from the timeless. You can live for the now, flexing what you've got, but that will only get you so far. Or you can live for forever, building a legacy that speaks for itself long after the luxury is gone. The real question is, what will they remember you for? The things you owned, or the life you built? Remember, luxury fades, but a true legacy lives on. Your choices today will echo in the generations to come. So ask yourself, are you building or just living for the moment? Take action. Start building your legacy today.